Live from Latrobe Motorsports Studios, this is Ride Along with Howie, from the fast half-mile track at Latrobe Speedway, where it's grassroots racing at its finest. Here's Howie.
Race fans, who's ready to go for a ride? This week, we got some special guests on Ride Along with Howie, sponsored by Joe's Body Shop and Towing and S&B Promotion. Our first guest tonight is the rookie driver who picked up the big win this past Saturday night, worth $1,600 in the Specialty Metal Pro Stocks, the driver of the 8C, Mr. Brandon Doland. Brandon, welcome back to Ride Along.
Hey, Howie, thanks for having me on again. I really appreciate it.
Hey, man, congratulations. This has been an amazing year. Just a little recap. You ran about 3 seasons in the pure stock, had good success, but just never captured that career first win. So over the offseason, you and your car owner, and we refer to you as the odd couple, Mr. Fred Kasagi, he's 81 and you're 18, so it's kind of cool that your ages are reversed, right, Brandon?
Yeah, it's actually going up in age. When we started, I was only 12 years old, and I think he was 79, 80 years old, somewhere around there.
Well, the odd couple motorsports, we're going to refer to you as, you guys decided, let's try a little more horsepower, and maybe that's going to make Brandon adapt and put him on bigger tires. And, man, it's been a breakout year. 3 wins already. And like I said, the big win with the Specialty Metal Pro Stock race this past Saturday night. And part of that purse was actually a bonus from your sponsor, Cassidy Pope. And it had to be good to go out and get your sponsor's money back for them.
Yeah, I actually called her after that feature win on my way home. She was very happy. She was actually unfortunately sad she could not make it to the race. She was glad to see we had a decent car count. I was really expecting and hoping to have a couple more cars, but it still wasn't bad. There was a lot of clean racing, fun racing, and she's hoping to actually get back here for a couple more races by the end of the year, hopefully.
Now, you started on the outside pole, and you pulled out to a good-sized lead, and you missed a heck of a battle with Marty Spade, Tommy Dembowski, and them, and you were able to get in clean traffic. And they always say when a car is really working good, it's almost like they're not pushing the car. And your car it almost looked like you were effortless out there racing it. How was it from the driver's seat?
That first start was a little hectic. I'm just always really nervous. I want to be out front, so I'm always nervous when it comes down to that first initial start. We had a first bad start. One of us jumped. I'm not sure who. And me and Brett were close until the yellow flag came out. Went right back to an initial start. I came out for the lead. Car set really good. I could keep it in full throttle, never had to use the brakes, and just did that the whole race.
And you went on to pick up the win. And I remember telling you when you got that first one, they always say the first one's the hardest. And then once you knock that one out, the rest will come, I don't want to say easier, but not as hard, we'll say.
I would definitely say they're a little easier for me. But that first one, I was just real nervous. I led every lap also my first career win. And it was very nerve-wracking. You know, you're scared to screw up. You don't know what's going to happen. And after you finally get that first one out of the way, you kind of get a little more comfortable out front.
And that's another thing. Everybody thinks once you get out front, it's all easy. But you don't run radios. So there's nobody saying, Brandon, you got a 10-car length lead. Try not to push it. So you're always pushing, trying to expand that lead. And it just looked like the track Saturday night, you were in that medium to high groove, and the car just came alive.
Yeah, I've always been nervous to run the high groove. Especially taking the lead, I'm scared to enter one of the corners and go up over the turn and lose my lead. About halfway through the race, I got the halfway flag, and I just started taking it a little bit easier because I didn't see no one's nose right beside my door. I couldn't hear no one. I didn't want to have to beat on the car if I didn't have to. I started slowing down a lot, actually. And after going back and watching Marty was catching me there the last 2-3 laps, and it would have been a good race if we had about 5 more to go.
You think once you knew he was there, could feel him or hear him, you still had some in reserve, though, didn't you? Or that was all the 8C had?
No, I had a lot in reserve. I never knew he was even starting to get close to me. I was maybe half throttle going down the straightaways. I could have definitely ran it a lot harder, and I didn't though. But guess what? We still picked up the win.
And it was a great night overall. Besides the win, which is obviously a great night, your car owner's granddaughter, um, Ashley Polk, sang the national anthem, and you're not related to Fred, but you're kind of an adopted kid, we'll say. So, one kid put bonus money up. One of the other grandkids went and collected the bonus money, and the other one sang the national anthem. So I'm sure Fred had a smile from ear to ear on that night.
Fred always has a smile when he gets to see his kids and granddaughters, and we all get to be together, especially at a racetrack. The whole family loves racing just as much as we do. Unfortunately, with them living out of state, they cannot make it as much, and with their work schedules. But if it was up to them, they'd be here every week and supporting us, helping with the car as much as possible. And it was definitely a great night to have everyone there for it.
Now, we've been talking about the wins in the Pro Stock. Can you explain what some of the difference between the cars are, between the Pure Stock and the Pro Stock?
That's such a hard thing to explain. But with my old car, it was very beat up. It was a lot older than I was. The frame was bent every which way possible since I started driving it. I fought with it. I went from a dead place car getting lapped to the first 3 laps to a top 3 car eventually at Latrobe. I just could never pull off the win no matter how much I did to the car, no matter how hard I drove it. And we were just sitting around a bonfire one night at the end of last year. And we're like, hey, Chris has this car for sale. Why don't we go look at it? It was really wrecked. We got it for a great deal. Everyone thought we were stupid for moving up without a career win or nothing. And I can't explain how much easier it is to drive these cars. They're more simple to work on. The rules are a lot more simpler. They're great people to race with, especially at the Penn Ohio rules. It makes it so easy to travel. And all around, it's a better class, in my opinion.
So you're running, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, you're running a standard transmission or a power glide in the Pro Stock, where with the Pure Stock, you're on a standard transmission. You're limited on your cubic inches, where with the Pro Stock, you're not, and you're on 10-inch tires versus 8.
Yes, with this new car, the biggest thing for me to learn is I run a Bryn transmission. You push the clutch in to go, and you only have direct drive and low gear, which is with a big learning curve for me. I was a little worried about it, but I got the hang of it. It's actually more simpler to drive than a manual car. With my old car, though, it's a 3-speed Saginaw transmission, tiny tires, 300 at most horsepower. You fought with it. It didn't like fighting with you. It was just a pain. This new car, it's like 500 some horsepower. I think it's almost 6. Big tires. It's just fun.
Now, what's the plan for the rest of the year? You're going to stay at Latrobe, and are you going to? I know you ran a little bit up at Lernerville. Are you going to bounce around, or just run the rest of Latrobe and put her off on the side and call it a good year?
The plan as of right now is we are finishing the year off at Lernerville Friday night, then Latrobe Saturday. We're going to run Latrobe for the rest of the year until your guys' 2-day show, I think it is. I'm going to travel to Pittsburgh the 30th of next month in the Stampede at Lernerville. Next year, though, I think we ain't really going to go for points. I think we're going to do some traveling with the Penn Ohio Series, get some more seat time out there. I'm so used to the big tracks because I love it. I love Latrobe. I just like going fast. But eventually, I'm going to have to slow down and start going to these smaller tracks and trying other stuff out.
But it's always nice, Latrobe, and if you want to try something now, you have a good base setup for Latrobe. So if you ventured off, you know where to come back to. So are you going to try to do some testing and tuning throughout the year?
Yes, we're definitely going to be back there a handful of times. I just don't want to say I can commit to running a full year there again, because this year I started a couple races late. I was having a lot of fun. I was really competitive, and I was comfortable with the track, so I wanted to stick with that track. And I ended up getting into the points run here. I think I'm 3rd. I should be after this past weekend. So I'm kind of stuck there right now with the points, but I'm also learning a lot. I try a lot of different stuff. I have a big notebook I write down in. Just preparing for these real big money races and these touring series. And, it's cool to go out and say you can run with the top-notch guys and be competitive.
And one thing from last year to this year, everything, and I mean everything, is different. Different tow vehicle, different fire seat, different trailer, different car, different motor. The only thing that stayed the same, Fred Kasagi, Brandon Doland are the odd couple. The 8C on the car, and Cassidy Pope and Kochka. I think the rest were all new sponsors this year. And, why don't we go ahead and talk about all of the marketing partners and the people who help out on the Odd Couple Motorsports race car.
Yeah, I think we only had 3 sponsors switch over, 2 of them which did not come up with their end of the deal. So unfortunately, I do not want to say their names because they don't deserve after screwing me over, unfortunately, which I cannot stress enough. If a business is going to help support a fellow racer, please make sure you guys pay your dues for the deal and do not screw the driver or the owner over after they put the wrap on the car. That's a very ignorant thing to do, and it's very expensive for us to do that kind of stuff. But we'll start with Cassidy. This car would not be possible without her. I cannot stress that enough. We've put a lot of time and money and resources into this thing, and just step, you make a phone call, she's there to help no matter what way you need money, anything. Kochka's another place that's been behind me since day one almost, helping with fuel, with tows, whatever I need. If I need to take the car to their garage, whatever, they're there. A couple new people came on my new work, Precision's Footings. He's new to the racing world. He actually loves it now. He's a very big help to the car. Lets me get off work early on Fridays to go racing. J&M Construction. I actually went to school with this kid. His dad in the company, and he was talking to his dad, and him and his dad. He comes to Lernerville a couple of times. Latrobe's a little far for him to drive. He's helped a lot with the car. Rachel Lindsay. She is part of Stephen Hazlett's crew or family somehow. She decided to step out and help support the car this year. The whole Hazletts, they're very supportive. Even the Ruffs, they're very supportive of this class and me in general. Great people to have at the track and be friends with. They're there for whatever you need. And Fred, I always forget about him sometimes. We argue, like you said, we're the odd couple. We're a young guy and an old guy. I like stuff different than he does, but it comes down to him being the owner of the car and I'm the driver and the mechanic. Most of the time I can get through his hard head and he'll listen to me and we argue. But we ended up, we're a really good crew together. We have a car that can win, a driver that's capable of it. My only other crew member, Isaiah, he is here almost every night of the week, as much as possible. These past 2 weeks, he's been a little busy, hasn't been around, hasn't got to the racetrack. It's really bothering him. He calls me about 1 billion times a night when we're racing to see what's going on, how we're doing. He was really bummed he wasn't there for the big race, but I can't thank him enough either. This also would not be possible without him.
And he also joined an association with Hollis Racing, and it's good just to know if something happens at the track, you got another couple of teams, and everybody's very helpful, but those guys will come down and give you a hand if you need it.
All the Hollises, even the boyfriends of the Hollises, the girlfriends, there's so many of them, I can't name them all. But if you go to the track alone and you're friends with them, or they don't even have to know you, they'll always be there to help you. They've offered me the garage multiple times to help with the car, parts, anything possible. They're always there to help, and it's amazing.
Well, race fans, that is the power of the Fred Kasagi owned Kochka Towing, Cassidy Pope. Car number 8C, they call him Fireball. We call him Brandon Doland. Thanks, Brandon, for your time and going for another ride.
Thanks, Howie, for having me. I appreciate it.
Not a problem. Race fans, now we're going to go for a ride with a driver who scored a career first win in the 410 sprints this past Saturday night. His name is Jordan Givler, and he's from out by Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Jordan, welcome to Ride Along with Howie.
Hey, Howie, thanks for having me.
Hey, more importantly, congratulations on that career first win. $5,000, not a bad payday.
Yeah, that's a pretty nice, check cash, really, to take home for our first win. We talked a little bit. We're from Central Pennsylvania. We race at the tracks out here. we kind of call Lincoln Speedway our home track, and I felt like the last 2 years we've been definitely getting closer to getting that first win. We hadn't yet, and we came out there Saturday just hoping to have a good night, and it was even more than a good night. So it was good to get that off our back.
We talked about you coming away from your home area and coming down to Lake Trobe, and the goal there. I mean, obviously you're doing this to have fun, but what were you thinking when you saw the big half mile? Because I know out in Central Pennsylvania, you guys run the bigger tracks. Where here in Western Pennsylvania, it's like Lernerville and Tri-City are like the norms, I guess you would say.
Yeah, when we first saw it, I guess we talked about this on Saturday. It probably a good thing for us. It didn't look like anything abnormal that I'm used to seeing. So certainly it's bigger for Western Pennsylvania standards, but not that I run Port Royal or Selinsgrove or tracks like that too often, but we've run Port twice this year, and we're actually going back up there this coming Monday for the Labor Day Classic. And we ran Selinsgrove a few weeks ago, and we're just kind of used to those bigger half mile, long straightaways, sweeping corners. So when I saw it, it didn't look like anything that really we were not prepared for. We did watch a couple YouTube videos. I watched a couple onboards from late models, and I found a video that I think AJ Flick's mom may have taken at the race you had last fall. And just on what we saw there, what our base setup was, we have things that we do on the bigger half mile tracks that maybe we don't do when we go to a track like Lincoln, a smaller 3/8 mile. So we put our half mile setup in the car and thought, well, we should be close with this. And when we got there and got to check the track out, I thought, well, heck, this is no different than really what we're used to. Now, once you get out there, you really pick up, the uniqueness of each individual racetrack that you see. But just from when I first got eyes on it, even our gearing was dead on. And it was just an educated guess on what we do around here on some of the bigger tracks that we have. And so we didn't feel out of place or uncomfortable or uncertain, even from the get-go in engine starts. It was like, hey, we can compare this to stuff back home.
Now, on the initial start, you fell back a little bit, and then you started passing cars. And a lot of the cars that were there are Western Pennsylvania cars. So here you're at a track for the first time, and you're racing with people that you're not overly familiar with. What's going through your mind? Are you doing a lot of praying, like, especially on these open wheels, like, I hope he knows below me, or I'm below him, and oh God, let's not bang, you know what I mean? And, going 115 miles per hour or plus, you have to have a lot of confidence in them. And I'm talking to myself again. Hey, welcome back.
Hey, thanks. I think I heard your question. I don't know what's going on there, but no. So to answer your question, no, there wasn't a lot of praying going on, hoping that those guys would race a certain way. I am pretty familiar with Western PA just from following the results. I raced with Dan Shetler a few years when I first jumped up to 410s. He was racing weekly at Lincoln. So I got to know Dan, pretty well those years when he was coming out in the 29 car. Of course, AJ Flick has spent a lot of time in Central PA. And not that, like I said, we don't run Port much, but I raced against him at Port Royal a few times over the years. And those guys are good. Even Cody Bova, I haven't gotten to race with Cody too often, but I do know him. And I know he's good. He's a great race car driver. He won a lot of 305 races, and he's worked his way up, and he's won this year. And I wasn't too familiar with Wagner, the 38 car, but I know he's won, So I was familiar enough with everybody. And like I said, I knew a lot of them already just from interactions over the years. And it was just like any other race that we have back home, to be honest, as far as who we were around. Just guys that, are really good drivers and are going to race clean, and which makes it fun.
But like I said, you were able to pass cars, and, people were scared that it was going to be a follow leader type of race. And you went back to fourth, and then you went to third, then you went to second, and you took the lead on the white flag lap. And I mean, it definitely had a racy track.
Oh, for sure. And that's one of the things that even out here in central PA, that I don't want to say it's a 50-50 shot of seeing a good race. Maybe that's not quite fair on the odds on the big half miles, but at least on the sprint car side of things, Port Royal has late models every week, and I'm not a late model guy, but I know there's nights where the sprint car race could be a snooze fest and the late models put on the best race of the night. And a lot of it's because the sprint cars have become so aerodynamically sensitive on these big tracks with the wings and the tires that we're on, that if the track isn't prepped right, sometimes it just ends up as follow the leader. Like we talk about dirty air, just like NASCAR does on, dirty air, you can't pass. When you get behind guys on big half mile tracks and you get right behind them, you actually lose the air on the front wing of the car and you have trouble getting into the corner. And that if the track isn't prepped right, it can be boring. And that's the last thing you want, especially being a special show. Everyone that came to watch there on Saturday, that was something new, not new, but not the norm for your track. And it was
Right.
prepped absolutely perfect. Early, there was, I don't know if there was purposefully extra moisture put on the bottom, if that's what they do, or just how how it was prepped that night. But you can't ask for more than 2 lanes that they were pretty even for most of the race, because I didn't really leave the bottom the whole race, and I lost a spot or 2 in the beginning, and then I got it back, and then at the end, whether it was our car coming on, the top going away, other guys' cars fading, whatever it was, but it was a racy track all night long.
How were your tires at the end of the night?
They were really good, and we did not bolt any new tires on the car. We ran used tires all night long. The tire, the right rear takes the most abuse on the sprint car. We didn't run the same right rear in the heat race as we did the feature, but they were both used tires and that was just simply because of the size tire. To get the right combination, we changed right rear tires. But they looked great. In fact, we went to Bedford then on Sunday, and we contemplated running the feature tire from Saturday yet on Sunday in one of the races. And we ended up we didn't need to with what our tire selection was, but it was still usable. The 358 races I've won in my career, I saved the right rear tire, and we're doing the same with this one. So I'm glad I didn't have to bolt it on, because it wouldn't look as good as what it did actually, how it looks now, having not been used again. But yeah, the tire wear was phenomenal. And you and I talked a little bit about the tire situation right now, and it's industry wide, but especially in sprint cars right now. And when you have a track that doesn't abuse tires, man, that's the best thing in the world. And especially when you can race on a track where the used tires can still be competitive. And don't get me wrong, the tires we had on weren't bald, but they probably had, I don't know, maybe 20 laps on them, 25 laps on them, a couple heat races, whatever it was from around here. And obviously we were competitive on them, and they were still usable after the race. And you can't ask for more than that.
Can we cut down on the hair jokes? I'm a little bit sensitive to the bald issue. Sorry, man. I'm a bad joke, but
Nah, you're good. You're good.
Hey, Jordan, in all seriousness, it says a lot about a driver and a team when you go to a track for the first time there with no notebook. And you said you watched the YouTube video, but I mean, it's only showing you so much. And it just, I know we didn't have the greatest car count in the world. I'm not going to stand here and tell you we did. We didn't. But the cars we had were very good quality cars. And Jordan, for you to go to a track anywhere for the first time and pick up a win, you and your team should be very proud of yourselves.
Thank you. And we are. Like we just talked, and it's not a knock to I know one of the cars I think had trouble and didn't really get to race much. I think he had some engine trouble throughout the night. And there was another car there that I apologize, I don't remember who it was, but the cars that we were racing with, they're all really good. They all have wins. AJ has 2 championships out there. Dan just won at Lernerville. Cody won at Attica. Wagner won one of the tracks out there. Like, you're right. It's a shame that the car count wasn't there, because the payout was phenomenal. The racing was great. The people that didn't come missed out. That's the best way to put it. But we're super happy we beat good cars, and that's cool. Like I said, we felt like we were getting closer to hopefully picking up our first one, and we definitely feel good to be able to beat who we did, because they're very good drivers. They're good teams. It's good equipment, and with a lot of experience, and to be able to race with those guys and actually get by them, we feel good about it.
As well as you should. And what does the rest of the year hold? Are we going to see you back here in Western Pennsylvania, or you just going to take the money and keep it out there at Central?
Well, we're trying to figure that out. This weekend, we're only running Monday at Port Royal for the Labor Day Classic. I'm actually in a buddy's wedding on Saturday, so the rest of even though it's Labor Day weekend and a big racing weekend here, we're only gonna be running on Monday. The week after, I know you guys race again, and we are looking at that. I'd like to come out. Originally, that weekend was an off weekend on our schedule. We weren't planning. It's just the Tuscarora 50 weekend out here, and that's not a race that we typically would race. So I would like to come out. One of the things that we always try and do when we come west, and we've always been this way, we didn't come out in 2021. I don't think in 2020, but in 18 and 19 we did. It's easier if we can make it a 2-day weekend for us out west. It just kind of helps offset the travel cost a little bit. So if we come out on that Saturday here in 2 weeks, I think Knox has a race on Sunday that we might look at doing. We could also come out and run with you guys and just head home, depending upon what we, crew, family, all that stuff. The weekend after, we're actually looking at coming west again. Dog Hollow has a $5,000 to win race on a Friday night. And then Lernerville has a big $10,000 to win race on a Saturday. So we're looking at coming to those two. After that, the last half of September and the beginning of October, we have nothing on our schedule.
Jordan, do you think you're going to make it back for our Fall Fest?
We're hoping so. So once we get past the weekend of Lernerville's race, our schedule's pretty open. And we didn't. Lincoln's last race is not until October 15th. They're actually off for almost a full month. So the weekend of your Fall Fest is wide open on our schedule. So we would certainly like to. That's that Friday night race I think we're a part of. So we had a blast when we came out to see you Saturday, and not just because we won. That helped. Don't get me wrong, that helped. But everyone was so nice, super accommodating to us, and it was a fun track to race on. So we definitely want to try and support you guys as much as we can. You and I talked the other night, and it's a little challenging to justify towing that way too often. We're very fortunate to live where we do. I live 20 minutes from Williams Grove. I'm right. It's 45 minutes to Lincoln and 45 minutes to Port Royal. Whether I go south or north is the question. So we're kind of spoiled in that sense, but we had a blast, and we're certainly going to do everything that we can to support the 2 races that you have coming up yet this year for the sprint cars. I can't make any promises yet. I got to sort it out with the crew and a couple other things, but we're going to try our best to come back out. Seeing the place completely packed was awesome. The one thing I have to say is that some of our local races this year, I know Central PA gets the reputation of the big sprint car area, but we haven't had the best crowds every week. And I don't know, there's some debate about whether the streaming, all the time is a good thing or a bad thing. I think it's both. I think there's very good things about the streaming that goes on locally, and maybe there's some not so good things. But we haven't raced in front of packed houses all that often this year, unless it was like a speed week race or a sanctioned race. And when we saw the crowd during the redraw, for the feature, that was awesome. And when you see people excited about sprint car racing, and I know the effort you guys are putting in there at the track to build it back up and to host some big sprint car shows, we're certainly going to try and do whatever we can to support you when we can.
Well, we appreciate you making the tow down, Jordan. And now's a chance for you to go ahead and thank the crew, the sponsors, and anybody else you'd like to go ahead and thank for help making that career first 410 win possible.
Yeah, so I got to give a shout out to Dakota Kuhn. He's my crew chief. He's been with me really since I started 410 racing. And maybe it was the second year that I was in 410s that he came on board. And man, 410 racing is tough. It is not easy, no matter where you are. And it's definitely been, there's been trying times. There's been times where we wouldn't talk the whole way home, and not that it was his fault or probably was my fault behind the wheel. But, it's been I don't say it's been a long time coming. It's just been a lot of hard work. And it feels good for the both of us to check that box off for the first one, and it just gives us confidence that the way we've been going about it is right, and that hopefully there's only more things, good things to come. Um, Jake McAllister and Cordell Whitaker have been helping on the car the last year and a half, and my dad's been huge in my racing career, just supporting me, working on the car, and he's semi-retired now. Spends more weekends with my mom, going to wineries and things like that. And unfortunately, they weren't able to make the trip out to see the first win, but they've been huge. And I've been fortunate. A lot of the sponsors that you see on our car, they've been with me almost my entire career. So I started in 358 sprints back in 2011, I think it was. So kind of unique. I didn't run, quarter midgets or micro sprints or anything like that. I started in 358s. When I was a teenager, I just worked on sprint cars. And I had a unique opportunity to start practicing a 358 when I was 19, I think it was. And that led to driving a little bit. And water treatment by design that you see on the top wing, Mark Coldren owns that company. He's my employer. I work for Mark, and he was the one that he owned the 07 car in Central PA for a lot of years. And I got to practice and start to race his equipment. And then that kind of led to me forming my own team. And he's still a big help. And you see water treatment by design on the wings. That's a little, very brief history of how I got into it. But he's been key in helping us continue year to year. Alloy wheel repair specialists on the hood, I think they've been with me pretty much since my first race. Same with Tim Pfeiffer, State Farm Insurance out here. We're just very fortunate that the people that we have behind us have stood behind us now for, it's crazy to say, over a decade. And we wouldn't be at the track any week without their help. Jack Giambalvo, Hyundai of Hanover, came on board this year. That's been huge. Rick Kaler, Rick and Anita Mitchell, Brian Arnold, they've been a huge help for several years with us. Key State Ag Transport, they're actually located out your way. They're in New Enterprise.
Okay.
They've been friends for a while, and actually Cale Grubb, he used to race sprint cars, and Key State Ag is the family business. We actually stayed at Cale's house after your race on Saturday. We stayed at his place and then got our car ready for Bedford. And they've been helping us out here for a while. X1 race cars, it was cool to get a win for them. Ryan Linder builds the cars. He's been a huge help over the years, helping us get dialed in. DMI, Roach Wings. It was our third night on the factory Kane shocks, KH suspension down in Charlotte. Drew Bible. I don't think it's any coincidence. As soon as I bolted them on at Williams Grove a couple weeks ago, I knew like the balance of the car felt like nothing I'd ever experienced. So that definitely helped us with the win. Lakeside Apparel and Graphics, they're to credit for the mint colors and the gold and all that. And finally, Fit Racing Engines and Don Ott Racing Engines. We actually have two engine builders. Don does our one, but Fit does the one that's in the car. Fit's a smaller outfit out here in Dillsburg. They don't have their own dyno though, so they did the rebuild on it, and Don kind of tunes it up on the dyno and whatnot. But it was pretty cool. I didn't know this. I actually found out we were the first ones to win a 410 race for Fit Racing Engines. They have a lot of 358 wins and 305s and super sportsmen, but they've done a lot of 410 work over the years, but never gotten victory lane. So they were pretty pumped. So to say take an engine builder to victory lane for the first time is pretty cool too. But like I said, we're a smaller team. We run around 30 races a year, and every year we just try and grow a little bit more and get a little bit better. And it's been a slow climb, but if nothing else, I think Saturday was just justification that we're heading in the right direction, I think.
And you forgot one sponsor. Social Security on that motor, it's so old, it comes with Social Security, right?
Yeah, you're not kidding. And our other one, it's just about as old. They could be twins. I'm not sure. They're the exact same heads. They've been around for a while, and it's just racing's an expensive hobby, right? And you do what you have to do to make it to the track each week. And we've been very fortunate that even though they're older, Obviously, they still rip pretty good. And we've been fortunate that the guys that we have working on them know what they're doing and give us a reliable piece. And we've got some things in the works for next year, hopefully to be a little bit better in that department under the hood, that when we're at least close to home, trying to run some of these bigger time trial shows that might put us in a little bit better spot there. Because if anybody followed our results from Saturday to Sunday, they'll see that we timed horribly at Bedford. So the wind came out of the sails pretty quick whenever we were towards the back of the pack there on Sunday. But every night's a different night, and as you're trying to do this deal and learn and get better as a driver, you got to keep every night in perspective. And very happy to get that win out there on Saturday. And like I said, hopefully just the first of many to come as we keep going forward.
The way that you and the team were performing Saturday night, I'm sure there'll be a lot more wins. And Jordan, we want to thank you for going for a ride. And we look forward to following your progress out in Central PA. And we can't wait to see you back here in Latrobe later on this year, hopefully.
Yeah, sounds great, Howie. Thanks again for having me, and I hope we're going to see you guys again soon, and maybe as early as 2 weekends from now on a Saturday. So we're going to see what we can do, and hope to see you soon.
Race fans, that's Jordan Givler, pilot of the number 9410 sprint car. Thanks, Jordan.
Thank you.
Race fans, don't forget this upcoming Saturday night, the first annual Jeffrey Vasos Memorial will be taking place at Latrobe Speedway. And spearheading the efforts, I want to talk right now to the voice of the Latrobe Speedway, Mr. Mike Sotosky. Mike, how are you? Can you hear me, Mike?
HB, how are you, buddy? It's good to see you.
I'm doing well. Thank you for.
I can indeed. Can you? How about you guys? Are you okay? Is my audio okay? Okay.
Appreciate
no, absolutely. Anytime I can go for a ride with you, brother, as long as we don't wreck or get run over. Absolutely.
Hey, man, I got the scars. I shouldn't be riding solo, apparently. But
you know what? All that matters is you're still here with us. That's all that matters.
Well, speaking of somebody who's not here with us, this upcoming Saturday night, we're going to pay tribute to a true champion on and off the track, Jeffrey Vasos. And Jeffrey ran a limited schedule last year down in Latrobe and picked up the Hot Summer Night Sizzler Summer Shootout Championship. And unfortunately, we lost Jeffrey earlier this year. And I know you had the pleasure of announcing a lot of his wins, I believe all the wins, and between Bedford and Jennerstown. And, I know he was kind of disappointed he didn't get that win at Latrobe. But like I said, he was a champion there. He was a champion at Jennerstown. But besides the track, he was a champion in life. Right, Mike?
And that's very well said, and that's a nice way. That's a good summation, HB. His very first win was 2014. He was just a young kid. I mean, a baby face. I interviewed him on the stage at the Bedford Fairgrounds, and it was, of course, it was in the 4 cylinders. It was the last race of the night, and it was fun to see him progress from that young baby face kid with his dad standing on the stage at Bedford to the wins to his competing at Thunder Valley, to his competing in Uptown. But I think a lot of people don't know, you spoke of his win at Latrobe last year. I really,
championship.
You and I had been talking all summer long about me coming down. I'm sorry?
He didn't get a win. He was a champion of the Summer Shootout Series.
You and I have been. Okay. It's kind of weird. There's like a delay in the audio. So if I talk over you, I apologize if I do. You and I had been talking summer about coming down, and I came down for Fall Fest, and I met him in the pits, and he kept in touch with me, and he was really excited about returning to his roots on the dirt. And they were committed to having 2 dirt cars specifically to come down here every Saturday night in 2022. And then, of course, the unfortunate accident in January that that took his life. But he was a good kid. He's one of us. I always talk about the Racing family. He was a nice kid. Anytime I did a fundraiser, HB, for kids with cancer, the children's home in Somerset, anytime I did, he was there. And I still have the text messages in my phone, and someday I'll share them with you. I'll never delete them. I spoke as part of his eulogy prior to him being laid to rest, where he wanted to make sure he came to this one particular car show we were doing, cruise in, to raise money for a family in need. And I said, hey, man, that's great. I'm glad you're coming, Jeffrey. But, man, you're in the midst of a points championship at a particular track? He says, I don't care. He said, that's at least my work. If I can come and bring a couple of my friends and we can raise some money, buy some food, help a family in need, that's more important. So that right there speaks to his character and why I want to do this for him, why we want to do it for him. And I sometimes I just don't know what else more to say. I get chills when I see these kids. Howie, you and I ain't spring chickens anymore. And, we don't see these kids that are going to be the ones carrying on the sport after we're through. We don't want to see things like this happen to them. So I don't want to get on a pedestal, but Jeffrey is missed. And I'm so glad that Dennis, Kathy, you, the entire Speedway family is allowing us to celebrate his life.
The amazing
I have,
part.
For what it's worth, we've got all the envelopes ready.
That's awesome.
There's 24 envelopes. Go ahead, Howie.
The amazing part with the economy the way it is, we literally announced that we wanted to do this, and it was a mad rush to see who would be the first to donate. And right now, money's tight for everybody. But to see the racing fraternity want to support one of their own, it's the greatest thing going. We didn't even need to advertise. We're asking for donations. It was people were coming up here, and messaging you. And, it was funny. I got to the track a little bit before you, and I always do my running around. One guy stopped me, and he goes, "Who's this Sotosky guy?" And I said, it's Mike. He's the announcer. And he's like, I'm on Facebook. My wife is, and she saw that you guys are doing this race for this Jeffrey, and I'm mad. And I'm like, okay, why are you mad, sir? He goes, I want to get money, and this Sotosky guy did a cutoff. He's like, I got money here. I said, sir, if you give me the money, I will get it to Mike, and we will make sure that it's there. But we just had to do it because
we'll handle it.
Of logistics. We got to make sure all those envelopes are taken care of, and we don't want to be doing it necessarily Saturday night, which if somebody still wants to donate, they can. But the problem is they're not going to get maybe the media that they deserve for doing it. There's probably a better way of wording it, but I think you know what I'm saying.
I know exactly what you're saying, Howie. And you know what? And people, and everything you said is correct. And that's why it's important for me to recognize everybody, to stay up on the computer till 1 a.m. every night and make a flyer for somebody, because you know what? Their $50 that they're donating means so very much, and they deserve the accolades. You talked about the economy. I want to be able to look on Facebook and see a nice picture of them or them being recognized, and a thank you from the Speedway, a thank you from the Vasos family. And you were right, Howie. I didn't have to peddle this at all. The first person I talked to, and I'll make this real quick, I don't want to ramble on, was Casey Fleegel, John Fleegel. They call him Toe Fleegel. He has a business in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, not far from Flight 93. I told him what I wanted to do. Right out of his mouth, he goes, I'll give you $100 for that. Okay, Toe. You know what? We'll give it to the winner or something and advertise it. So I made a flyer. Thank you, Toph Legal. Well, next thing you know, Somerset County Sheriff Dusty Weir, who him and his family are owners or a part of the ownership group at the ATV park in Central City, Mountain Ridge. Hey, Mike, I saw what you're doing for that Vasos kid. He was a good kid. I talked to the board last night. We want to give $300. And that was it. It just went absolute. It went in the most positive and feel good ways that you could ever ask for. So, what's interesting about this? Here's the 24th place envelope. With what's in this envelope, thanks to the generosity of so many fans and race teams and businesses, in addition to what the Speedway pays, last place is going to make more, is going to take home more from Latrobe Speedway in the Mod 4 cylinders than a feature winner at another track. So we put it in that perspective. That's pretty impressive.
And the part I like, Mike,
and again, it's all about what we always say at the end of a night, Howie.
We're one family, and we're.
Go ahead, Howie. Oh,
Can you hear me now, Mike?
Right.
What I like is.
Yeah, it's kind of a delay.
Yeah, I apologize for that. I think because it's so late, my producer needs a nap, but no, I'll take the blame on this one. But no, honestly, Justin's doing a great job, and he always has and always will. But you know what I like, Mike, is one thing that I was told, and it makes a lot of sense, and that is, it doesn't matter if you win the race or you finish 10th, 12th, 20th, wherever, you still pay that same entry. Everybody's still spending relatively the same amount of money to get in, for their fuel. You know, if you're bolting tires on, that's a difference. But your general expenses are the same. And I liked how this race is organized to where everybody's getting equal amounts of the bonus money. And I think that's something that Jeffrey was big about, was economics of racing. And I remember, you know, last year, he would always Facebook me or text me or message me, hey, can you save me a spot? How's the weather? And I just remember one night, he's like, hey, Howie. And then he sends me a video of it raining up at his house. And I said, not messaged him back. And I'm like, hey, just call me. So he called me. He's like, what's up? And I said, listen, just so you know, my name's Howie Bayless. I'm not Joe DiNardo, the weatherman from Pittsburgh. I said, it's sunny here. My arthritis isn't acting up. I think we're going to be good. And he's like, you know, he's like, I love racing. And he goes, I love Latrobe coming there, but it's the expense. And I said, I understand that, Jeff, but all I can tell you is it's good right now. I think we're going to get the show in. And it just, you know, Jeff was such a level-headed person. You know, he realized that you had to have money to do this hobby, but you couldn't go spend more money than you had to do the hobby. And I think it's kind of fading. What you did was the division of the money.
Right.
So everybody is getting an equal amount.
Yeah. And that's only the guy. You have to cut Howie or
no, go ahead. You're good.
No, what I was going to, and I agree with you. And the guy that finishes 24th, as opposed to the winner, put just as many hours in the garage, late night in the garage, probably put the wife and the kids to bed, went back out in the garage. And it's just a nice way to, I mean, I think you don't want to be a dead horse, but that's the whole idea. We really want to share the pie with everybody. Now, I got to tell you, there's some contingency awards with just to throw this out there. There's two $50 hard charter awards, thanks to K&S Racing and Nick Zabranchik, who raced up at Thunder Valley. Barnhart Electric of Greensburg, Howie, is going to donate $25 to each of the feature winners, whether there's two heats or four heats. And heat race winners. And then Brandon Dillinger Braden reached out to me, and I'll just, to our Latrobe fans, let's just say Braden is donating $50 to a particular finishing spot. Do you care to get to a finishing spot that might be?
Yeah, I'm going to put on my psychic hat. For some reason, the number 14 is popping in my head. I don't know why.
Yeah, I have a feeling 14th place is going to pay an extra $50. But I just want to give some other kudos just real quick. And, friends from other tracks. John Fama, who I announced for years at Thunder Valley, many wins, race Member Speedway, races at Jennerstown. I'm picking money up from him tomorrow. Jason Bush, modified driver, Jason from Brothers Tire in Swissvale, reached out to me. Jim Bryce, who's a part of the Preston Cope race team, Jim reached out to me. An old friend from our days in Bedford County, HB, Kyle Beckett, George Beckett and Sons Contracting, Kyle Beckett, who races at Heston and Bedford. He gave us money. The racing family is so much more than even just our Latrobe circle of friends and family. It's much larger and much more caring. And I would be remiss if we didn't say something about Andrew Pluta. For the prior to this accident, a lot of what Jeffrey did race-wise on the racetrack, also the track, was a salute to his best friend here in life, Andrew Pluta, who we lost to cancer. I kind of lost track even how long we've lost poor Andrew in the number 88 car. But again, it's just a testimony to who Jeffrey was, as he always tripped to Andrew and did things in Andrew's memory as well. So I thought I would be remiss if I didn't mention that.
You mentioned that, but also Andrew's daughters donated to the race in honor of Jeff too. And I know one thing, when I was always at I wasn't at Jennerstown, Jeffrey always made sure that the car he drove, and for the team he was associated with, was the car that Andrew drove previously, and it was part of that Rambler racing team. And when Jeffrey won, I know on the nights I was there, he pulled the Paluda girls down and had them come to Victory Lane. And I know they made a donation in honor of Andrew.
Yes. Andrew's fiance Bree Hawes and his two beautiful kids, Rusty and Charlie. And again, everybody came to me. She reached out to me. Bree did. And she said, you know what, Jeffrey and Andrew were so close. Can I make a donation in Jeffrey's memory from Rusty and Charlie, Andrew's daughter. So yeah, it's going to be a feel good night, and we could probably talk all night about it. But the fact is, there's special things, there's big things happening at Latrobe Speedway, and I can tell you, not just in regards to the Jeffrey Vasos Memorial, but big things are happening across the board, and it's very gratifying to be a part of it, to see what's happening. It might be bad, but I got to tell you, you Westmoreland Countyans love your racing, and good things and big things are happening at Latrobe.
Without a doubt. And I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule. I know you're very busy, but I just wanted to get you on here, and we could talk about Jeffrey's memorial race and Jeffrey and recognize you and everybody who is making this race possible. Again, race fans, that's Mike Sotosky, the voice of Latrobe Speedway. This upcoming Saturday night, the Jeffrey Vasos Memorial will be taking center stage. We'll also have the K2 Engineering crate late models, especially pro stocks, the Joe's Body Shop and Towing pure stocks, the Seal Tight 4 cylinders, and Great food will be out at Bubba's Concession. Be sure to come by and check out, and there'll be more surprises coming on. Thanks again, Mike, and we're going to be back with our conclusion. Thanks again.
Thanks, HB. Have a good evening, everybody. Love you.
Love you too, man. We'll see you Saturday. Race fans, that's going to conclude another edition of Ride Along with Howie. And I'd like to go ahead and thank our sponsors: Joe's Auto Body and Towing, Specialty Metals, K2 Engineering, Rock Auto, DJS Swag, Seal Tight, Stone and Company, Vinyl Destination, Latro Glass and Mirror. And for those of you who are looking for a job, don't forget General Cartwright is hiring, and they start vacation and benefits from day number 1. For more information, be sure to check out their website. And also, please support those who support racing. And remember, we'll see you this Saturday at the races.